Albion Online just announced the Spring and Summer 2026 roadmap, full of content updates and big moves for the game. Robin Hooders and I went over the update live on Twitch just after it was revealed, and had some inside info straight from the developers to get even more excited about. If you want to watch this kind of content live, there'll be a Q&A stream on January 28th at 17 UTC live on the official Albion Online Twitch channel. The creative directors will be there answering questions and talking about the roadmap, so make sure to be there to get your questions answered. If you haven't watched the roadmap yet, you can check it out on the official Albion Online channel linked in the description, or just continue watching as we go over everything for you. Damn,
Holy
Robin.
shit.
Like I
Dragons,
said,
dude.
Dragons, I think
Dragons.
is gonna be the thing that hypes everyone up the
Dragons.
most, man. Dragons are so cool. The visual overhaul, super sick. Like you said, I don't think anyone expected maybe this big sort of faction warfare change. There's a lot to get into, man. There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can we throw the image up of sort of what all is in the roadmap? I mean, guys, this thing has a ton of stuff in it, right? So starting off, we got the Realm Divided Part 2, the new faction stuff that you saw. We'll go into everything as we go. The visual overhaul and the spring content update, the console launch. I mean, you can't understate how cool that is.
That's
I'm the kind of
huge.
guy who loves sitting on the couch with a controller playing games, so that's exciting.
I mean,
Oh,
return of preseason events as well.
yeah,
That's massive. You know, we've been calling for that for a very long time. I mean, the Avalonian preseason event was awesome and it was received very well. And it led into the introduction of the Avalonians themselves, and it worked very well. So obviously this will be the preseason event to the dragons awakening finally after I don't even know how many years. I
a
mean, I was
long
reading up on
time,
the
bro.
lore.
People on, yeah,
It
and it's
it
again like
was
you mentioned, man. You know, as we are sort of getting into the roadmap, it's important to remember this is just a roadmap, right? There could be other things during the
mhm.
spring, during the summer, and then especially that second half of the year. Who knows what can happen? But for the big sort of beats, I mean, these are very cool to see. I'm excited for season 31 to start at the end of this month, and then sort of get into some of these updates. But yeah, I mean, do you want to just jump in and start going over the content? I know you're excited about this Realm Divided update, so
Yeah, I mean, this was a surprise, right?
yeah,
Like going off of our content release schedule that we've been seeing, right? It's like every every 2 seasons we get an update. So obviously Realm Divided came in late November on the 24th, if my memory serves me correctly. So we technically shouldn't be getting a update next month. This is coming next month on February 23rd. But we're getting it anyway, and that's going to be the addition, you know, with Realms Divided Part 2. We got the faction battle standards coming into the game, which are pretty cool. I want to see how they work, but I'm judging from what was said. You know, you pick up the banner and then you just start killing people in game of other factions and gain faction points, capture outposts, and it grows in size um, as you go. And it looks like it has different rarities, of course, going off of what we have already, all the way up to legendary. And then you turn it in for a big chunk of faction points. But the fun thing is, you can lose it in battle, and the people that win that battle can pick it up and carry on, earning um points to increasing the banner's reward at the end. So being able to add like a new PvP element and reward structure to faction
yeah.
warfare is pretty cool.
I think it'll help a lot with that sort of idea of, more PvP reason, right? Like more of a reason to go and engage. It's important to mention that the faction points you get for turning those uh what's the official name? I want to call them a flag. It's a battle standard, the
Standards.
faction battle standard. When you turn one of those in, not only do you get faction points, but anyone who is fighting with you, so from
Mhm.
your faction, will also get faction points, which is how that sort of might have really help drive some PvP. And of course, if I kill, if I take down Robin and take the battle standard from him, it'll be worth
Not
more
happening.
because of that instant, right? Like me taking it'll increase in value just right there, which is super cool to see.
Yeah, and I want to know like like, does it have a chance of being destroyed? Is it always live? Does it carry on flip-flopping between different,
Yeah,
factions
good point.
until it's turned in? Because obviously we have the faction board that is being added as well. That is where you turn that standard in, and that's going to be on any friendly outpost. So you can't just take it wherever. You have to take it back to a
Mhm.
friendly outpost and hand it in.
We do
And
have
I'm
the
wondering,
post, by the way, Robin, the
mhm,
actual sort of news post for the roadmap. And in that post, it does mention that whenever an enemy takes down a carrier, they can pick it up. So I'm assuming it doesn't get trashed. It's sort of always active, and
okay.
should be cool. It should be cool.
Nice. All right. That's good. I like that. Just a pretty much a carry on objective, right? Obviously, we have power cores and
Yeah,
things like that, and the Outlands kind of like plays into all of that. So I do like that idea.
I love
Looking
how you
forward to
can
see how it
see.
plays.
I love how you can see the game director Moritz Bachmann in the in the background behind them on the video. I'm not sure if we're showing the video right now or the roadmap, but it's funny, the transparency effect there. I thought we were showing that. I switched over to YouTube tabs. So
Nice. All right. Okay. Threw me off there. I was like, what the hell's going
I
on?
thought this was on our stream. I was like, "Oh, jeez."
Uh,
Yeah, man,
but
this is
yeah,
gonna be
I mean,
cool. Yeah.
faction battle standards, pretty cool. Obviously, the introduction of the bard. Now, that's an interesting one as well. Like, does
Yeah.
the bard, obviously a bard collects stories and tells stories. Are we going to see potentially something like that in the future with the bard? Like, does it replay, where that standards came from? Does it, tell a story there? Can we see, who's been killed, who's lost the banner, who picked up the banner there? That would be quite interesting, having some like story lore behind the standard itself. So looking forward to seeing what actually comes with that. But
Yeah, did
that's
they
not
base
all.
the design off Chosen, I wonder? The bard. I wonder if he it'll look like our guy here, the storyteller himself.
Oh boy. Hopefully no
But yeah,
singing.
man. Yeah, let's get into the Bandit Assault rework. I
Mhm.
know you're super excited. Go talk about that one, man.
Yeah, I mean, two different parts of Realm Divided Part 2, faction battle standards, but then the massive rework here to the Bandit Assault. And this one, ever since Realm Divided went out, everyone's kind of felt like there's a disconnect between the Bandit event and the province system. It kind of didn't really make sense. Kind of two things colliding. And that's all going to change. The bandit event will now go in with the province system and the supply system. Um, it it's gonna basically go through different stages or phases, shall we say. So obviously the event starts as it does now, and then the supply system kicks in. So that means all faction activities contribute and not just outposts. Then the bandit will then move into the second phase, which is all lethal zones, but then it will be condensed into two lethal provinces. So you always have two lethal provinces in play, and then obviously the climax is a multi-faction battle on a I don't want to call it a castle territory. It's not a territory. What the word I'm looking for here?
The
Um,
fortress.
fortresses. There we
Yeah.
go. Fortresses. Basically, you will have a valuable chest within two fortresses. So you're going to basically play out as a castle siege because that's what castles are in the Outlands,
Mhm.
right? You have that big chest, loot chest at the end, but this time it's going to be for that event for the Bandit Assault. So some big prizes available there, and remember it's red zone, so it's full loot activity. So those rewards can be even bigger than what you see now in like the yellow zones and stuff. In some of the faction warfare PVE camps that we see. Um, so looking forward to seeing how that plays out,
Yeah.
and seeing how bandits tie in with the whole system itself with
I
faction
think
warfare.
that, you sort of really had a good analogy there, right? I think for faction warfare, this bandit assault rework will really be a lot like the castle sieges of the end game in that it's sort of the centerpiece of the content in a way, right? This is where, you're gonna have these sort of really high stakes, big fights and, work towards and really be hyped for these this event, these battles. And I think that's a really good way to position it in the realm divided sort of whole system of the update. I'm excited for this one, man. I'm actually very excited because the valuable chests too, like the loot that you might want to get here, right? Like that's big for people to actually want to fight over these things, man. And
Mhm.
I believe they're in two different fortresses. Like the chests
Yep.
are spanning within the two. So I'm excited to see how this plays out.
Yeah, and giving that content as well to the faux loot side of faction
Yeah.
warfare as well, because a lot of it, like with Realm Divided Part One, obviously blue and yellow zones, faction warfare content with the PVE camps and stuff, very rewarding. Um, Red zone, you got slight increase in from the PVE encampments, but it's like nothing too
Mhm.
crazy. Hopefully, these chests in this bandit assault system rework will allow for some, big boy rewards at the end of it. We'll see how it plays out. And remember, this is only a month away.
Yeah, this is
Realms
all
Divided
coming
Part
Feb
2,
23rd. Oh my
yeah,
god.
February 23rd, my guy.
It's
February
insane.
23rd.
And by this all, we're just talking the Realm Divided Part 2 stuff. There's a lot more coming later. Before we get into what's coming in April, earlier, before we played the roadmap, we did mention that some of the standard Albion online Twitch stream activities might be happening. So for all the guys who've been here chatting away, talking about the roadmap, let's pull two, maybe even three if you want to go crazy, Bogle, premiums, just for the guys who have been here, who didn't even know that we were doing this. I'd love to give away some nice premium codes to everybody who's been enjoying the show. No, we gotta
Oh,
support the
boo.
guys who have been here, they didn't know we were
Yeah,
even doing one. Look, see, now we've got guys who are just entering to enter, man. Well, Bogle, what are you
nice.
excited about, mate? Because
Hello?
we sort of went over our favorite stuff.
Yo, now you guys can hear me. No, what I was saying is, I gave away one of the people who have to the giveaway code to people who have been chatting, but
Okay.
I want to do a thing where people tell us what they want to see, or rather what they are excited about from this, because then it's easier to, do it
That's
right
how the
now.
entries will work here, guys. In the background, we do have one of the most sophisticated sort of synthesis of organic and synthetic material, sort of the AI in the background that will filter out all the messages that we don't want to enter. So if you want to win some premium from now on, you guys have got to start talking about what piece of content in this roadmap you're
Fantastic.
most excited for.
Fantastic.
Otherwise, guys, if you're just talking about, really wanting, bears to the bear staff to be stronger, it's gonna get filtered out. You're not gonna win, guys. Uh,
And everyone that says dragons gets 50 extra entries. It's just how it is. Just how it is.
oh man, graphics is gonna be such a cool thing to see, right? Because we're only seeing and we only show sort of the concepts of these overhauls to the biomes. I am super excited to see just what the performance updates might be. It should be a significant sort of step in the right direction. I'm wondering as well what all on the technical side, as somebody who lives in Unity, will be. I wonder sort of if we're updating versions. I wonder exactly how the visual overhaul is being done, what that means for the world. But we'll get into that here after we pull some more premium. Castle thing does sound
Yeah.
cool, guys.
It's the graphics one overhaul is a big one, right? And
Yeah.
as is, you would expect the reaction was, okay, now my PC is frying. Um,
I don't think so. I
but
actually don't think
but
that'll be the case.
I think a lot of the people that probably watched it reacted to the initial visual upgrade, but then didn't listen to what came right after that
Yeah.
was the engine, the performance of the game, the technical aspect of the game. It's all getting upgraded at the same time. And
Mhm.
it's just a first step as well throughout the year, and beyond. There will be more and more performance upgrades, and things like that to improve both performance and hopefully connection as well. But we'll obviously hear more on that when the time comes, like, Mo mentioned in the
Yeah.
dev talk.
And that's sort of I think for me, dragons is the biggest sort of like not meme, but the thing that people have wanted for so long. But the sort of overhaul to the world, and specifically the world. I mean, it's already really cool. Like I actually really
Mm.
like the graphics of Albion when you play it on, some higher settings. I keep it on low for some of the competitive stuff, just used to that for games. But the game looks great, man. And some of the visual effects in this game are amazing. So to see the overhaul that will happen to the different biomes and sort of all of that stuff, making it more readable is the biggest thing I think that was said that I'm excited to see because we have these 400 people fights almost that I'm excited to see sort of what that means for those fights. If it makes it a little easier for a guy like me, my eyes don't work as well these days to read it around.
Yeah.
But one of the biggest and coolest things, this is all by the way, coming in the spring update. So this is going to be in April. Now we already talked about February. February is the sort of bandit assault, the battle standard, realm divided part 2. It's coming February 23rd. In the spring, we're getting this visual overhaul. We're getting those performance improvements, and this is coming in April. We're not sure the exact date just yet, but also in this update, Robin, is something that made my heart flutter a little bit as a 5v5 player at heart. We're getting a new Crystal Arena map. That was like the most random thing I did not expect to hear. I'm really excited for that. I might know a little more than I'm letting on just from different sources, but
Oh
yeah, man, I'm
gosh.
excited. Excited for this Crystal Arena map to get public for everybody.
Yeah, yeah, new 5v5 Crystal Arena map. We also had the 1v1 arena mode
So cool,
mentioned as
dude.
well. Like that's going to be super interesting. Obviously, the only way to really 1v1 at the moment is dueling.
Yeah.
And that is, the person has to be standing next to you to initiate the duel. Now you have this 1v1 arena. What I want to know is there a leaderboard system? Are there going to be rewards behind
Oh
it?
man.
Is there going to be, actual something to climb for in that sense? And I don't think it's going to be lethal auto in chat. I think it probably would just
Mhm.
be, as we see right now with arenas and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but it again, it's giving the newer players that area and space to engage in PvP and learn the ropes in a safe environment, right? Without
Yeah,
losing
it's
gear.
training. It's
Yeah.
PvP training, and sort of just like the other arenas, I would expect nearly for sure that there is some form of sort of filtered matchmaking that might happen. That's my hope. But man, would it be sick if there was a sort of leaderboard. But then I'd want that leaderboard for everything. But I guess we already have it for every. I mean, that would be really cool to know sort of who the best 1v1ers are. 1v1ing an Albion is a skill, man, and you might
Yeah.
not need that skill in ZVZs, but you sure need it in other content. And I don't want to talk about the history of the game, but man, did you need to be good at 1v1ing for a lot of the 5v5 content, what, a decade ago? So moving on from the arena stuff, we sort of glanced over the armory, skipped over that bullet point that is, but dude, the armory again for new players is going to be really cool. Even for existing players, it's gonna be super awesome. And there's sort of a theme there, Robin, in that a lot of this stuff is super cool, especially for new players, but also, existing. And I
Yep.
feel like that makes sense given that there might be an influx of console players coming into the game.
Yeah.
I feel like they might have done a good job syncing these updates together. But yeah, man, building loadouts, being able, a guy like me, not a big ZVZer, to just say, I want to play a tank loadout and let me build that really quick and go without having to research. In the game, keeping people in the game is one of my favorite sort of systems in any game and game design. Not having to go outside to look for that stuff, I think will be really cool.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's going to be massive, right? And I see people talking about, the builder that we have on the website,
Mm.
that's been there since the very beginning, very outdated. Um, but this is going to be in game, like you mentioned, and it's going to, pull player data to build the loadouts, right? It's going to be looking at what the players are playing and what they're using, abilities, all that jazz, and is going to give, the players a decent actual meta build to use
Yeah.
instead of going to maybe a guide or somewhere that's outdated by 3 years and no one knows what the hell that is. It may even have black hands that's not even the game anymore. you know, now it's going to be, up to date information. And hopefully, I would assume it updates in real time for when we have balance patches coming in and, players
Yeah.
switch out some abilities here and there on their builds. And it keeps up to date on that. So
Oh
players
man, will
don't
it
get left
have?
behind.
Did I miss that? Will it have the skills on the stuff too?
I'm going to
I
assume so.
that
Why
would be
would it not?
so cool. Yeah, that would honestly be awesome. And now that you said that, if that's not in the update, we ought to get that in the update because that's such a cool thing. I really hope that that comes in because, like you said, I mean, keeping it updated not every second, but you know, being able to get what people are actually playing in the game and seeing that in the game is super cool. I'm very excited for that update.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a massive system, especially like you mentioned with the massive influx of new
Yeah,
players coming in with Xbox. Um, it's going to be insane. But another thing
maybe.
that
Oh, go.
also, I was going to say, moving on just a little bit to the other bullet point that was talked about here, and
Mhm.
that is, changes to the disarray system. This is for the ZVZ players out there, and probably the biggest thing for them is that Battlemount Disarray coming. We are finally stopping the Battlemount spam in ZVZs.
Ooh.
No longer will I, walk into a battlefield and there is a zoo in front of me. We are going to have, an actual limiter to the amount of battle mounts that come in. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how that plays out, and I'm hoping that it works because boy oh boy, I hate battle mount spam, and it's been
And
on my list for a long time.
I think that the readability in ZVZs will go up immediately when you have
Mhm.
humans in front of you instead of the zoo of every animal from the zoo running you down, sort of protecting the front line. That's
I think
my
that's why like faction is so fun and enjoyable
Mhm.
because there's no battle mount spam, right?
I like
There's
battle
nothing
mounts. It's just the
blocking.
spam. Yeah, it's when
Mhm.
the humans get covered up by the battle mounts. I'm like, oh no. One thing I'm just thinking about because this disarray system change for battle mounts, especially the loadout update, where new players and they're getting fed this information of what to play. Is that going to affect the economy in any meaningful way? I mean, if there are any big economists around like Vogel, could you make
Mhm.
a quick a little bit amount of gold just betting on the prices of these things going up if they're sort of the meta builds in the loadout system?
I mean, I think it helps in a great way for discoverability. So I know a lot of people are struggling trying to figure out what they want to make. And it's
Mhm.
kind of hard to figure out, what is the most popular thing right now. And there's always been, you can check the volume of sales on the market, but I think having sort of a history of what's currently cool will help shape some of that decision making around what to make potentially. Um, and from my experience, stuff that's meta sells better, right? And that's generally a better experience for you if you're into that sort of gameplay. So I'm curious to see as to how much history and how fast it updates, because that's kind of important if you want to
Yeah.
build around that. But there are a bunch of implications, yeah.
It might help a lot for the sort of crafters who are kind of the backbone of the gaming system, the crafters and gatherers. But
Mhm.
anyway, man, I'm super excited for that. But Robin, there's a lot more in our notes. We got a lot more to go
Yeah, we
over.
have,
If you want
and
to
we're
take it
getting
away.
little snippets of information coming in from chat as well. We do have some of the devs in there. We got Quokey replying to a comment about the armory, and he says armory is filtered by content and based on player data that constantly gets collected.
Oh, that's
Um,
cool.
so it's going to have a filter for different content in the game.
Yeah,
That's
that'll be
pretty.
awesome to be able
That's
to like
insane.
tick, I want to do a depths build, a ZBZ build. That's really cool. Excited for
Yeah,
that.
I mean, because one of the issues, right? Two different pieces of content, right? You got like open world solo, or even open world mid small scale content that can be completely different to ZVZ content. and how you build that loadout and use the abilities and stuff. So love to see that there is going to be a content filter applied as well. But you are right, we do have a lot of stuff to go
A
through
lot
here in
more,
our
yeah.
notes. And I mean, the big thing, we've mentioned it a couple times. With the release of the spring update, Xbox is fine. Albion is finally coming to Xbox. I mean, the writing's been on the wall for quite some time.
Yeah.
You know, controller support's been in the game for a long time. It's been worked on throughout the years. It's been talked about on Q&As, on Reddit, on live streams, job listings, the whole shebang. We even went on to Xbox Game Pass or towards the end of last year. Now it's actually Xbox console launch coming with enhanced controller experience as well. And we saw some of the new controller. Is it a controller wheel? Is that navigation flow? Is what
Yeah,
they
the
call it.
navigation flow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
and I
saw
mean,
that.
so the coolest thing about the console launch is obviously, I mean, an influx of new players would be amazing. I hope, and I know Albion's marketing team is on the nose. I know we're gonna get some nice marketing to pick up some of the console boys, the console Andes, as they might be called. I'm a big lover of just chilling on the couch on my TV, playing a game. But as somebody who has a great PC, I often just throw up the game on the PC on the
Mhm.
TV. And so I really hope that the new UI navigation flow for console can be enabled on the PC version if I'm using a controller. I would really hope that that's the case because I really like playing games with my controller. And that would be awesome. Be really cool. Also, want to mention that this does open the door, right? We're starting on Xbox, but who knows where we'd go from there, right?
Yeah, I
Could
mean,
be cool.
yeah, I mean, you got some choices, right? You got PlayStation, of course,
PlayStation
Nintendo
exists, the
Switch.
Switch exists, yeah, your
That
smart
would be
fridge exists.
insane.
I want the
Smart
Wii. Is
fridge
that still a
exist.
thing?
I mean, dude, I've played 5v5s with a Wii nunchuck and controller before. One question for the console launch that, is sort of a floating question. I don't think anyone knows the answer to this unless some devs are in the chat ready to hit us with it. But this is from chat. I mean, this is a really good question. Are we going to be able to play with our current accounts? I believe absolutely so because this is a cross-platform game. But I just wonder how the connectivity there might be. Sort of connect to the Xbox platform. Will premium carry over through all the platforms?
Good
I believe it
question.
should.
Does it say on the?
No, it doesn't mention this on the news post, but,
Oh, it
it's
does.
oh, does it?
It literally says, "This marks a huge milestone in on Albion's cross-platform journey."
Yeah, yeah.
And I just got confirmation as well, from the dev team that it is the same account,
Perfect.
and it will carry on as you do, if you're on mobile, switching to PC, PC to mobile, cross-platform progression, everything, stays the same. So you can go from your PC to your Xbox to your mobile device when you need a poop, back onto your Xbox, onto PC. It
Yeah,
all
yeah.
stays rolling.
That's your
I just wanted to
setup?
make sure, I wanted to make sure because I've seen some cases where, it's a whole console specific thing. There was a game I played for quite a long time that did that and really made me upset. So that's awesome to see. I love that Albion is actually cross platform. And I mean, being able to play on my oven while I'm cooking some salmon is going to be really fun in 2035, whenever that happens. But console launch should be cool. I'm really excited for the Xbox players to come into the game. I just think that'll be cool. Maybe the content creators and stuff that really only enjoy playing on console could head into the game. And then we've got two more sort of big beats to cover, Robin, if we want to get into the summer, because obviously, I don't know that we mentioned, it's just around April, shortly after that spring update that comes in with the visual overhaul and all that stuff, is when Albion will be coming to Xbox, to console. So it'll be between sort of that April visual overhaul and then just before summer at some point.
Yeah.
Now, I guess, take it away.
I'm pretty sure the Xbox launch goes with the spring update, or yeah, like you said, sometime in between
Sometime
there.
just after,
Um,
yeah, very shortly
yeah.
after is what it says. I did I speak and say 2025 on accident? I meant 2026. My bad. I always do that.
Yeah, but
Uh,
it's still January, so we can still call 2026
yeah.
2025. That is the rules.
I
The
actually
rules
did that
apply.
on a official government document, and now I have to deal with such a massive headache to fix it
Nice.
because I put 2025 instead of 2026. I put this, just a big thing. But anyway, man, anyway, we're getting to one of the coolest things. But before we can talk about dragons, we do have to talk about sort of the preseason events coming back, which I think is super super interesting for people who love the seasonal gameplay, the end game.
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
keeper event looked, I mean, looked really cool, the concept for the keeper champion, but I don't know that we know too much about it yet.
We did have, a little bit of concept art shown
Yeah.
of the keeper champion. That's at 6 minutes 45 in the video there, Bogle. But yeah, this, like we mentioned at the beginning, the world events, we had it with the Avalonian, um, introduction of the Avalonians back in
Babylonian
2019.
invasion, you say.
Yeah, I mean, they were all the Avalonians came to the surface. You would roam around the open world and stumble into them everywhere you went. If you were ZVZing, you would get wiped out by the archer because it was super OP and it would just delete your whole entire Zerg. But it was what it was. But now we're getting the keepers, and obviously this is the lore build up to the major big content update, which is going to be dragons. Because if you didn't know, the druids are actually the ones that put the dragons to sleep. And because I was reading up on the lore, just to double, double check. So it says on the website, let me load it up real quick so I got the correct wording here. Um, so 1,800 years ago, Albion was ruled by fearsome dragons. In the shadow of these tyrannical creatures, the first began to attune themselves to the magic of the land, becoming druids. They make an accord with the giants of Albion, enabling various tribes of humanity to flourish. The greatest of the giants come together with the first druids to work on great magic, forcing the dragons to sleep. The ravaged land soon recovers, and the humans and giants together guard the dragon's resting places, naming themselves Albion's keepers. And then it goes on to say like magic was gained, uh, and so on and so on. So basically, maybe some druids are like, hell, we want to rise up and burn the world again. Let's bring the dragons back to life. Um,
Bro, where did you just read this lore from? Am I crazy? Where are you reading that
There's
from?
literally a lore section on Albion's
Oh,
website.
okay, I thought you were reading this thing from the like a new I was like, "Wait, oh my god, we're getting new lore?" I was, like, excited. Okay, okay. But, I mean, this is new lore with the dragons. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, it ties directly into dragons, right? Like you said, it's the keeper
Mhm.
event. Obviously, that's why they probably picked it. It is, narratively the coolest way to connect the lore into what will be the biggest gameplay update for this roadmap, the dragons coming in, which we can finally get into. I mean, exactly what they'll be is unknown just yet. We saw some concept art, but dragons are sort of positioned as high-end PvE with some competitive PvP involved, and they talk about exploration and sort of that being a pillar of the content. I don't know what that means, Robin. I don't know if you know, but I'm excited to see what happens there.
Yeah, again, we don't know much, right? Apart from dragons are coming. There's going to be an emphasis on the faux loot PvP aspect, risk versus reward factor.
Hmm.
There's going to be high end PvE involved. Um, but there's also going to be aspects that you can interact with safely with the dragons. So
Yeah, non-full loot areas, you might
non-full
be
loot,
able to
yeah.
enjoy them a little bit as well, but the most rewarding of dragons, which I believe means that we'll be slaying some dragons for loot, will be in full loot areas. That'll be really
Yeah.
cool. I mean, that'll be as mentioned in the news post, Robin. I mean, they say it plainly. These are meant to be, in their words, momentous, memorable objectives for players to prep, fight together, and sort of fight against each other to kill. which this really makes me kind of excited. You know, I've always been asking for more sort of high-end actual PvE content for
Mhm.
guys who like me enjoy competitive PvE, and this could be something that tickles that part of me. I'm very excited for that. It also opens the door up for more fantasy stuff, right? I mean, this is a very central element in the Arthurian legends, or dragons. And, you know, who knows what else could come into the game, sort of deepening the lore and backstory with this kind of stuff. I didn't expect dragons, man. That was the last thing I would have expected to hear.
Yeah, I mean, as someone that's been banging on about dragons since I can remember,
Uh,
I think my first introduction to like the meme of the dragon the was it the 5th year anniversary live stream that we did with Robin Henkes and them. And it was going on and on and on. I didn't say
mm.
a single thing the whole entire stream, even though I was on camera on stream. And then right at the end, um, they were like, "Robin, you got one thing," and I was like, "Dragons?" Question mark. And then that was it. That was my faux thing. And ever since then, it's been a thing on the stream. Players have been wanting it. It's going to be really interesting to see how the devs bring dragons into the game. Because if my memory serves me correctly, the one thing that stopped them before was the dragon actually, the tail and how it moves.
Yeah, the
Um,
tech behind it, you know,
the
it's
tech
always been a
of the
problem with
tail.
dragons. Everyone knows the old story of, the
Mhm.
League of Legends old dragon that sort of never came out because of the tech problems.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see it, and again, Robin, everything is connected, bro. You know what I mean? They're doing the visual overhaul. Potentially, I don't actually know if there's any engine updates. I mean, connected, man, that, that we're finally getting the dragons there. And just what they are, obviously, will be revealed as we get sooner for a timeline on the dragons. It is summer update that those will be coming in directly after the season.
Mhm.
But I do want to, just get one more word in from actually from Retroman himself about the dragons, Bogle. If we can go to 7:10, actually. I will link you the timestamp. I just want to hear it in his own words. It's actually 7:26 ish. If we could play retro, just saying that one more time for me. It's my favorite part of the dev talk because he's completely right of the roadmap.
was preparing for fighting over and remembering long after the battle. And they are just freaking cool and belong in a fantasy MMO.
They are
They
freaking
are.
cool and belong in the game. I'm so excited, bro. I love the fact that we're getting a big thing like that with the art style, with the visual overall update. It's so cool.
Yeah, and going back to our question earlier on, are we getting an engine upgrade? I
Oh,
have got confirmation from the dev team that we can indeed talk about it. And we are indeed going from Unity 2021, which is the engine that we're on currently for Albion, all the way up to Unity 6. So we
we're
are
going to
getting a
six. Are we going to
full
6.1? Are we going to? I assume
uh,
6 flat.
all I heard was Unity 6.
That's very cool, very interesting. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff in I don't wanna get into any of the engine specifics or anything to do with sort of the Unity model or anything, but there's a lot of cool things that come in from 6 compared to 21. Wow, that's gonna be sick. I mean, that's gonna be really cool. Excited to see what that means for the performance. Robin is actually really
Mhm.
cool depending on what they decide to implement. I mean, they could do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
That's a much bigger thing than I think most people will understand, uh, for a game like this, and what an undertaking that must be actually, because I think flat 6 migration is not the easiest.
Yeah, it's, like they said, it's something that they've been working
Yeah.
on for a long time. And, we've gone through the bumps in the road, shall we say,
Mm.
with ZVZ performance and stuff like that, for like the last year or so. And it must have been hard because obviously upgrading, like you said, it takes a lot to go from, where we are now with Unity 2021 up to Unity 6. That's a massive undertaking for the team. And it
Yeah.
must have been really painful because they knew what was going on behind the scenes and they just couldn't talk about it because they didn't know when it was going to be ready, and what that actually meant with performance and things like that. but now like we can finally say like we're getting performance upgrades. You know, we're getting a Unity engine upgrade. We're getting visual upgrades. You know, all these different things are coming, and that is coming in spring. That will be the spring update, and
The
then there'll
final
be
thing on our roadmap, which is
and
to
beyond
be
that,
like the coolest.
yeah. I mean, but behind that, right? Like they said, there will be more performance updates throughout the year and beyond. Right? It's the
Yeah.
first step of the performance upgrades, and I'm just so freaking glad that I can finally say things like that and talk about it
Yeah.
and hopefully like the players understand it's not just a flick of the switch, something that you can change overnight. It takes months, even years of work to do. But we're getting there now. We're getting there. We're nearly
Yeah.
there.
I hope the ZVZ community is really, and you should be really excited actually for that engine update. I know that most of the community probably understands that there's a sort of two-part system to any issues that you experience in these large battles, right? Some of it server network, some of it client side, but a lot. I mean, for both of those things, this update means a lot. But for the client side, I mean, the things that can happen, Robin, with that could be implemented. I'm not even saying that they will be for sure, but you could implement a lot more very performative systems, that keep sort of data on your GPU longer, that
Mhm.
uh, assist with everything. This is probably the coolest part. I didn't know they were going to 6 for me.
Yeah, finally my 4090 that I have sitting in my PC may actually do something when
I
playing
mean, they
Albion.
already do a lot. Like, don't get me wrong. Your GPU, a lot of people don't have this misconception, especially when you're on high settings. Your GPU is getting heavily utilized by the game. It's just that Albion is not the most demanding of games until you get into these massive battles that involve so many different actors and pawns and all these visual effects systems and everything that happens in these super big battles. That sort of is hard to optimize. It's a challenge, and a lot of the things that are in the sort of Unity 6 build that could help with that. I hope get implemented over time because one of the biggest things in the engine launch for Unity 6 that was pushed is something that might really specifically help in those big battle instances for client side, like leveraging of your own GPU and just making sure that everything is running a little smoother. This is super cool. I hope that something big comes from this.
Yeah, and just real quick, I'm going to drop a link in chat. It's been out for a couple months, but it's a great write up by the technical director, John,
Yeah.
that goes into deep dive depth of what changes are coming, how they tackle ZVZ performance. Um, you know, Talks about some of the potentials of um, God, was it DLSS and things like that coming to Albion potentially to better perform for FPS and everything like
Yeah,
that.
DLSS will be
There's
great just for,
It
like,
would be amazing.
mid rigs especially. I mean,
Mhm.
Albion is not the most demanding game, so a lot of people who have decent setups, you might not even need to enable DLSS, but a lot of people don't know, with DLSS, you can actually gain visual clarity with a system called DLDSR, which is where, let's say you're playing on a 1080p monitor, you can render the game at 4K and then use DLSS to sort of get more performance. I won't go into everything. And so the game looks better on your screen, even though you're using DLSS than if you even ran it native. And your performance impact is super low using DLDSR. It is very cool. And that's sort of the thing that would be great for Albion, where it's already not that demanding to get even more quality there. But not mentioned in the post you linked, Robin. He does actually mention Unity 6 flat out. So I can't
Mhm.
say. I actually think I did remember. I know this, and I just forgot about it. I think we even talked about it before, but
Yep.
it's the updates for the ZVZ and the systems at the back end, right? VFX at scale in Unity 6. The idea of how your GPU instances these sort of animations and just all of the everything you see on screen, right? The backend systems are really improved a lot from a performance angle. If you're talking these super specific edge cases like Albion has in those big ZVZs. And so it depends on how you implement it. I'm not saying like you're auto going to get so much better performance, but I have a lot of faith in this team to bring something really cool for us. So I don't want to nerd out too much about the update there, but
Yeah, love a good nerd out every now and then, especially when I don't have any idea about what the hell you just talked about. But it sounded good. It sounded positive, and that's all what matters
very cool.
sometimes, Tazik.
It's
That's all
very
what
cool. Very
matters.
cool.
But I mean, we're coming to the end of our bullet points here. Obviously, ending with the dragons. But yeah, very much looking forward to spring and summer. And again, just to make sure you guys are fully aware, this is just spring and summer for 2026. We obviously have autumn and winter as well in the year because
Yeah.
that's how years work.
Those are the other seasons. See, I
Yeah,
couldn't
the other
remember.
seasons. Yeah,
We
I
call
gotta
it
remember
fall
those.
here instead of autumn, and so it's always a problem.
Yes, because Americans deciding just to change things because why not? But yeah, I mean, the first section of the year jam packed, some massive content pieces coming. Very much looking forward to hearing more about dragons, of course, but I'm pretty sure we should be expecting some dev talks, obviously with the Realms Divided Part 2 update releasing next month. Once again, Realms Divided Part 2 is coming out next month on February 23rd. So a surprise content update there for the mid-season. But before all that, obviously we will have once again the creative directors Graymo and Retroman on stream on the live stream here on the 28th of January at 1700 UTC. They'll be talking more in depth about the roadmap for 2026, answering some of your questions. Obviously, we can't answer them all here on stream for you. I've seen some of the questions already. That is for them, to answer because we're just little old streamers. So we do have that coming up on the 28th of January at 17 UTC. So make sure you're following the channel to be notified when we go live. But we're coming to the top of our section here, Tazik.
One other thing related to that. In the video, at the very, very end of it, there's this little call to action for a React video. If you remember back, for I think one of the like 2-3 dev talks ago, they said, "Hey, how about you guys post some messages or questions or stuff below that video on the YouTube?" And then they did a whole React to these questions video. And
that was a cool video too.
it
I
was
like
a whole hour, I think, right?
Was saying, dude, get in the comments on that roadmap. I mean, we'll link it again in the chat for you guys. Anything you're excited about, if you have any questions, you want clarity, anything like that, I mean, throw it in the comments there. I can assure you that the devs are looking, and they'll probably do another one of those React videos and sort of answer some questions just there.
Thank you very much for watching. And yeah, we'll see you guys shortly. Adios.